Today's lesson is solving multi-step linear equations, and that's building on what we've been doing the last day or two, where we've been solving one-step and two-step linear equations. So let's start out with just a practice review problem. That is 2x plus 5 equals 11. And this one is a two-step equation. So based on what I know about two-step equations, I know that the first thing I need to do is move anything that's being added or subtracted. And right here, I noticed that I have a 5. It's a positive 5, so I ask myself, what do I need to do to make that positive 5 disappear? Well, the opposite of positive 5 is negative 5. So 5 minus 5 is 0. That is now gone. And then we still have 2x. We still have our equal sign. We still have 6. Now I know that 2x means 2 times x, and the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we can go ahead and cross those out. That leaves me with x, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now let's go ahead and move on to a multi-step equation. So our first example is going to be 3x plus 6 times the quantity of negative 4x plus 7 equals negative 21. The first thing that I need to do when I'm solving this is get rid of the parentheses. And I can get rid of the parentheses by doing one of two things. You can either simplify. So if we had like 10 minus 6 inside the parentheses, that would be 4. Or we can use the distributive property. So distribute. Well, if you take a look over here at my parentheses, you'll see we have negative 4x plus 7 inside. And you can't simplify that because negative 4x and 7 are two different things. This one has an x, this one doesn't. That would be like trying to see how many apples you have by adding apples and oranges. It doesn't work. So I'm going to distribute. That's my other option. So I do 6 times negative 4, which gives me negative 24x. And then I also need to distribute my 6 to the 7. 6 times 7 is going to give me a positive 42. We don't need the parentheses anymore, and let's bring down everything else. So we now have 3x minus 24x plus 42 equals negative 21. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is combine like terms on each side. And when I say each side, I mean each side of the equal sign. So you can imagine over here that we have the equal sign, and it's kind of like the left side and the right side. So like terms are things that are similar. Right here I have 3x and negative 24x. Those both have x's in them, so we consider them to be like terms. So I'm going to do 3x minus 24x, which leaves me with negative 18. No. See, I make mistakes. Negative 21x plus 42 equals negative 21. Alright, next thing. I've combined like terms. So I have my x term, I have my number, those are on the left side. On the right side, we just have our number, or the constant. So let's go to step 3. Step 3 is going to be to add or subtract. So if you look closely at this equation that we have over here, you'll notice that it's a 2-step equation, like we've been doing. There's the multiplication, there's the addition, there's the equals. So let's subtract 42 from both sides. 42 minus 42 is 0, so that is gone. I have negative 21x, and I have negative 63. Negative 21 and negative 42 were both negative numbers, so I add them and keep the sign. And I'm now on to my final step, which is to multiply or divide. Remember, the goal here is to get our variable, which in this case is x, all alone. So since I have negative 21x, or negative 21 times x, I am going to divide. My negative 21s will cancel out. We're stuck with x equals negative divided by a negative is positive, and I know that 63 divided by 21 is just 3. Now, my teacher showed me that I can figure out if my answer is right. So let's check our work. We're going to take this x equals 3, and we are going to substitute that 3 up into the original equation in both of the x's. So let's take our original equation, which was 3x. Instead of x, we're going to substitute our 3. Plus 6 times negative 4 times x. Once again, we know x is 3. Plus 7 equals negative 21. Alright, let's go inside the parentheses first. We're doing order of operations. So I'm going to do negative 4 times 3. Whoa, why do we have 2 6s? Negative 4 times 3 equals negative 12. And negative 12 plus 7 is going to give me negative 5. And let's bring everything else down. And now, since I'm running out of space, I'm going to do my multiplication at the same time. So 3 times 3 is 9. Minus 6 times negative 5 will give me negative 30 equals negative 21. And 9 minus 30 is negative 21. Does negative 21 equal negative 21? Yes, it does. So I know my answer is correct. Let's do one more example before we have you move on to your quiz. For this next example, how about we do 9s, negative 9s plus 4 times 12s minus 7 equals negative 15. If you look at your notes, you'll be reminded that the first step is to get rid of parentheses. And since I can't combine those terms, 12s minus 7, we are going to distribute the 4. So 4 times 12s gives me 48s. 4 times negative 7 gives me negative 28. So I've gotten rid of my parentheses. Now I just need to bring down everything else. So I bring down equals negative 15. And then up here I still have that negative 9s. Since 48s is positive, we're going to throw a plus in there. Alright, check out my notes, and I see that step number 2 is to combine like terms on each side. Well, I notice that on the left side I have negative 9s and 48s. So I'm going to do negative 9 plus 48, and that is 39s minus 28 equals negative 15. Next, my notes tell me that it is time to add or subtract. We have this negative 28 here, or minus 28, and the opposite of subtraction is addition. So let's add 28 to both sides. Negative 28 plus 28 is nothing. It is gone. So I have 39s equals negative 15 plus 28. Different signs, let's subtract. And we keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's positive 13. Final step, I need to multiply or divide. In this case, I'm going to be dividing. And I'm left with s equals 13 over 39. Can that be simplified? Well, 13 is a prime number, and it can only be divided by 1 and 13. And 13 does not go into 39, so that means I'm done. Now, I'm a little bit unsure of my answer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to substitute that back into the original and check my work. So let's do negative 9 times 13 over 39. Is that right? We'll see. Plus 4 times 12 times 13 over 39 minus 7. And I ran out of room, but I know this all needs to equal negative 15. So I'll grab my calculator and first we will work inside the parentheses. Throw our final. So 12 times 13 gives me 156 over 39 minus 7. And 156 divided by 39 actually happens to be a whole number, and that number is 4. So I rewrote everything. Let's change 156 divided by 39 into a 4. Alright. Next, we still have some more in the parentheses. We can do 4 minus 7, and that's negative 3. I bring everything else down. And now I have multiplication. Over here, let's do negative 9 times positive 13. And let's see, that's going to give us 117, I think. Yes, 117, negative 117 over 39. And then we also over here have 4 times negative 3, which is going to give me negative 12. And let's just check. Can we divide 117 by 39? Yes, we can. That will give us negative 3 minus 12, which equals negative 15. And let's take that negative 15, check all the way back up here at the beginning, and yes, that is correct. Negative 3 minus 12 equals negative 15. So let's go back and remember that First, we need to get rid of parentheses. After that, we combine like terms on each side. Then we add or subtract to try to get the variable alone. Then finally, we multiply and divide to get the variable alone. Alright, if you had any computer problems and you were watching this on YouTube, make sure you show me your notes tomorrow at the beginning of class. And if you are on Canvas, then hop on over and let's quickly take the quiz. Just 5 questions, all that you'll find in here. And I will see you tomorrow.